Right, so let's go ahead and bring in the city geometry. I'm just going to drop down a geo, call this city, jump inside, drop a file, and go ahead and find that file. So if you go into your in geo, I've dropped this city file. Just grab that. Excuse me. And there we go. We got this nice city model. So one thing I want to do straight away is, because the curbs, it's kind of hard to see there, they're quite high. Okay, so I'm just going to drop them down a bit. Well, first create a group. Maybe I'll explain what we're about to do. So in the simulation, I want the agents to be obviously running around on the roads, and then also they should be able to run and get onto the curb, okay, but not obviously run up the walls of the city. So we need them to be able, we need a terrain composed of, well, just the floor and the curbs. We need we need the buildings, just the buildings and these trees, as avoidance objects, okay, so that we can tell the agents to not run into the buildings. And we also need these buildings and the curbs as a collider for the for bullets. Okay, so we need to split this up and have a few different streams coming out of here. Okay, so first of all, as I said, I'm just going to grab, let's call this curb, and come in here to make a selection. So press this little triangle thing, press 9 in my viewport. Go to 3D connectivity, and then I can just go ahead and grab all of these curbs, shift and click to select more than one. I'll just grab all of them. There we go. Okay, once I've got all of them, press enter, and then you can see this makes a selection for me. Now I'm just going to drop a transform and bring them down a little bit. Grab that curb, okay, and then I'm going to drop it down minus 0.1. It's barely visible here, but then up close with the scale of the agents, you know, it makes a bit more sense. Otherwise, the curb kind of goes up to their knee or their hips even. Great. Okay, so first of all, let's make our collision geometry. So we need to assemble it, give it a name, so we'll call these blocks, and we need to create pack geometry, and we need the name attributes on our points, right? Okay, let's drop that a null, call that out block, oops, blocks collider. Okay, now I'm gonna grab a splits, connect that up, and then select the curb geometry there. Okay, we can name this to be clear, curb. Okay, and then out here, if I drop another null, so here I've just got the blocks, right? And then I'm going to call this out blocks avoid, right? Because I don't want the agents to avoid the curbs. I want them to step onto the curbs. And then on the other side, we'll have terrain for the agents to run around. Okay, and I want them to step onto these curbs. So for that, I'll use a height field, as it's quite efficient for the solvers to use, you know, it's quite fast as opposed to polygonal geometry. So I'm just going to drop in the size that I'm using here, okay, and then move it, because we do need to bring down this grid spacing a bit to get that curb detail, okay. So we drop a height field to make that, and then to project it we need a height field, project. Where are you? There. Just drop that. So connect the geometry into the right port, the height field into the left port, sorry. Visualize that, and you see we get something already, but then we need to bring down this grid spacing quite a bit. So if I bring that down to 0.05, there you can see it's not perfect, but good enough, something for the agents to as I said, step up, okay. And then just connect out that terrain. So again, yeah, so the camera will be something like here, so the agents will be able to run up along this ground and obviously onto the curbs as well. They will avoid these blocks, okay, which I don't want packed. I want it to be normal polygonal geometry. And then if they are ragdolls and being spun around by the tornado and they fly away from it, they will collide into the, you know, we'll have a ground inside the DOP network, and also the curb and the buildings as well. Just to check these, we can do the same thing we did in the last project. We use a for each loop, connect that with just the first one up there, just unpack it temporarily, visualize that, so that will go over every piece, and then drop a convex hull. Then we can see what bullets will create, okay. So, you know, it's not perfect, we'll be losing a bit of detail, but for our purposes it's fine. You know, we lose maybe some bits there, which we can address, you know, if specifically there's one agent that goes there, and you can see, but more than likely it's not going to happen. Most of the agents will stay within the tornado, okay. So that's perfect there. We'll leave that to the, whoops, maybe I'll drop an unpack just so I can leave this in the scene. Make sure that's packed. This will be unpacked and transferring the name as well, so that still works there, I hope. Yes, perfect. Okay, and then maybe we can drop one other null for the render, which can do this out city render. Okay, great.